All right, you ready to begin? Here we go. Good morning. So at this point, we got everybody muted, so I was expecting something a little bit different. Rick, do me a favor and just unmute everybody for a minute. We're going to do good morning, and then they're all going to reply good morning.
They can just all unmute, I think. I'll ask all to unmute.
Okay, I am unmute. Hear me?
I'm muted.
I'm here.
Yeah,
I'm muted.
Okay, let's do it, Bill.
Ready? Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay,
morning.
it's not as good as the real thing.
No.
Okay, mute them all again. All right. Okay, here we go. I'm unmuted. We're following Chicago aldermanic rules. Pretend I'm Lori Lightfoot and you're an alderman and we got your mic turned off. We only turn them on when we want you, when we actually want to hear what you got to say. Okay, so with that said, welcome to meeting number 296 of TMG, the MAC group. Obviously, we're not meeting in person. We're doing our first test, if you will, of a Zoom meeting. I'm going to follow a modified agenda. It's going to be very, very different from what we normally do. There's no donuts from Bill's Donut Shop. We're not going to do help desk. We're not going to do any of the other things for sale, wanted, and all that good stuff. We're just going to do a short item of news. Then I'm going to turn the meeting over to Rick. And then Rick's going to run the meeting, doing his presentation. And then at the end of the meeting, Rick will adjourn. Okay, so I ask that you lower your expectations. As always, we're winging it. And we're going to do a little bit of Kaizen on this process as we go forward. For those of you who don't know Japanese, Kaizen is a very strange word in the Japanese language. It's one of the few words that means change that also means good. Japanese culture tends to be rather static. And Kaizen is small incremental change. Think of it like a Volkswagen, all the re-engineering they did with the flower bud vase over those 50, 60 years with the Volkswagen Bug. Okay, so with that said, moving right along, I'm going to go to my 4 news items. The first one is there's been a big shakeup in the management at Apple. Phil Schiller, who's been in charge of marketing since God knows when, is becoming an Apple fellow, and he's going to be handling less of the international stuff. He's going to focus more on the Apple App Store right now. Second item, this is for those of you who are into investments. Apple is going to do a 4-for-1 stock split, which means if you got 1 share of Apple and it's worth $160, at the end of the stock split, you'll have 4 shares and each one will be worth $40. Another item, Apple is in the process of moving their Macintosh platform. That's going to be the Mac Minis, the iMacs, the MacBook Pros, MacBook Airs, anything that's Mac, to a newer chip, a different producer of the chip. And it's what they call Apple Silicon. It's going to be using ARM chips that Apple makes themselves. These are the same types of chips that are currently used in the Apple Watches, your mobile devices, your iPads, your iPhones, your iPods, the Apple TVs, the Apple Watches, all that stuff. And then last but not least, Apple now just released their last Intel iMac. It looks like they're going to be their last rev of the iMac. It's a 27-inch. They've upped the camera on that. You can get the details at the Apple Store. And to finish off the news item, everybody always asks me when Apple comes out with a new machine, you know, should I buy the new machine or should I wait for the next one? And my response is always the same. Do you need a new computer? If you need it, buy it. If you don't need it, wait. So with that said, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Rick. And you can mute me now, Rick.
Thanks. So I'm really glad to see everyone today. It feels like it's been forever, and it has been very difficult to not be around everybody. So hopefully this is a moderate substitute. There's a lot of people that aren't here. I hope we can catch them next time. We'll talk some more about that later. So today we want to do something a little different. Because we've taken on this Zoom thing for however long we have to do it, we wanted to give everybody a little bit more information about how to use Zoom. So I'm going to switch to a presentation screen. You will see, you'll see the keynote presentation. That'll be sent out in an email afterwards. We are recording this presentation, so that'll be available as well. So don't make any funny faces because that'll get recorded too. So we'll see how this goes. So give me a minute while I switch over to the to this. Okay, everybody should see my presentation now. All right. So as I said, I can't see you while I'm talking, so you just have to, if there's a problem, you'll have to text me or something. But anyway, we're going to do a thing about getting started with Zoom, how you start with Zoom, what you need to know to make this work. So it's going to be pretty basic. We're not going to get real deep into features, but I want enough that we can talk and work through this over the next however long we do this. So you received an invite. This is the first and most important thing you get. This month I sent that, and probably was a mistake, but I sent that as an attachment to a calendar invite. Next month it'll just be an email. But you'll notice that it's just like we talked about in the video that we've sent out a while back. It tells the time of the meeting. It gives you all the information. There's a link to click to join the Zoom meeting. You've done that. You know how to do it. Clearly you're here, so you figured it out. Congratulations. We're really excited about that. Next thing you do is you join the Zoom meeting. Now, if you ever have a problem and for some reason when you click it, it doesn't work, you can always go to the Zoom application on your Mac or on your iPad, say join a meeting, and then when it asks for the meeting information, you can type in the Zoom meeting code and you can get in that way. But if you just click the link, it should bring you straight into the app. All right. We need to have a few protocols that we use to be able to make the meetings more productive. If we just simply leave all the mics on and we just go, it can get really hard to keep a meeting organized. So the way we are going to do this is there will be a presenter, usually during the meeting, whoever's talking, like Bill was the presenter at the earlier part of this meeting. Now I'm presenting now. There may be meetings where there's other speakers. The presenter will control the flow of the presentation. You may, during that time, have questions, or you may want to raise your hand and say, hey, I have a question and I want to ask it now. I can't wait till the end of the discussion. There is a vehicle that I'll show you in a few minutes for raising your hand and asking questions, and I'll talk about that today. There's also a chat room that you can chat with other people in the meeting so you can talk about the presenter while he's not paying attention. That's also a lot of fun. But everyone will be muted typically. During the Q&A, we'll unmute everybody. You can raise your hands to talk, and we'll try to keep that a little bit organized. So this is the very basic rules that we'll follow every month. And I hope that all makes sense. If you have questions, you can ask in a few minutes. So just keep your questions and we'll get to them. What happens if things go wrong? Something just isn't working right. There's a few things you can do to resolve those issues. Number one, you can try to use the chat feature that I'm going to show you to connect with other people in the meeting to talk and ask questions. That's your number one thing, because that should work. Number two, if that's not working, you can send a text message to somebody that can help. So for example, myself, there's my phone number. You can send me a text message. You can send Bill a text message. You can send anybody that is close. Mark could take a text message, but you can send a text message to somebody to help you get reconnected. So that's a good thing. Don't hesitate. You know, sometimes getting out of Zoom and coming back in can resolve problems too. So if you have to get out and come back in, you get back in the same way you got in the first time. There's nothing wrong with doing that as well. But just be patient. It can work. I've used Zoom during this lockdown. I've used Zoom sometimes every week, multiple times, and it works really well. And I think we can make it work to make this productive and have a good experience with it. All right, I'm going to walk you through a few slides showing you some of the functionality of Zoom. And you'll notice some places it says Teresa when it's got my face on it. That's because I was on 2 devices at one time. I was logged into Zoom on my Mac, on Teresa's Mac, as well as logged into Zoom on an iPad. So you're seeing 2 different screens, 2 different views at the exact same moment in time. So that says Teresa, but it's me. And that's just because of the device I was using. So that's what that looks like. Now in Zoom, you always have the video. It attempts to connect everybody to video. You can tell the device when you log in that you don't want your video to be seen. We like it if your video is there because it helps to know who's talking, and you can see somebody wave if they're having problems or have questions, but you can turn off the video. You can also turn off the audio, but if you bring up both, it really makes the experience better, I think. And generally speaking, if you look around the screen, you notice there's a few things you need to know where they're at. You got at the bottom lower corner, depending on the device you're on, but you usually will have a mute button somewhere on the screen. In this case, it's down in the lower left corner. You have a button to stop the video and then restart the video. So if you want to, for example, walk out of the room or do something you don't want everybody to see, but you want to still be able to listen, you can stop the video and it'll just show your name, and you can go on doing whatever, and we won't see what you're doing, but you'll still be able to hear. The next one over says participants. That's a list. If you click that button, it shows you everybody that's connected. That's down here at the bottom. I'll see if I can point that out. I guess I can't. That tells you who's connected to the conference at that moment in time. Now, right now, there's a bunch of us in this particular meeting. When I was doing this, there was only 2 participants, but that's what that shows. The next one over is chat. That's the chat room. I'll show you that in the next couple slides. The next one's share screen. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm sharing my screen. The next one's record. This does have the ability to record the video, and we will use that so that we can share those videos for later on so you can watch back and see it if you have questions. The next one's reactions. We'll talk about reactions here in a second. And then the last one over in the corner is leave. So when you're done, you can leave the meeting. Now, if I leave the meeting, you're all going to get logged off. But that's only if I leave the meeting and I click the button to say turn everybody off. But that's what that does. At the top, you have a couple key buttons. There's the gallery view and exit screen, full screen mode. You can get out of full screen mode and go into a smaller screen if you want. The gallery view I'll talk about here in a couple minutes. And then there's some other functions at the top and pull down menus that we're not going to deal with much today. All right, I want to talk about different viewing modes that you have in Zoom. I am in right now, and on the screen right there, in what you call the gallery view. In the gallery view, you see a small image. This is kind of like Hollywood Squares or one of those features. This shows everybody that's logged in, their video. So you can see everybody at one time. Now, if you get a really big meeting, it gets hard to put them all on the screen, so they may move around. But the gallery view shows you everybody. And then you see a little box around the person that's speaking, so you know who's speaking. You also notice that when they're speaking, you see their name in the lower corner. If you switch to the speaker view, then what happens is you see a big picture on your screen of the main speaker, and then everybody else is real small, and they're either across the bottom, or you can make them be across the bottom by clicking the button down there. You'll see that if you do that. But that's the 2 main modes. That's the screen share and the screen views of the participants. This is a view of when Teresa and I were doing it. This is the view of just she and I. This is the gallery mode. When I go to the screen mode, I would get just me as the one person. Now the participant, down at the bottom, that participant button is really important. There's a few things you can do in the participant screen that are really important for the way we're going to do meetings. The first one is, there's this little button down there in the lower corner that says lower or raise hand. Now right now, Teresa's hand's raised. It's got the little hand up. You look up at the top of the screen by her name. It says Teresa, me. That was actually, I was on her computer. The little hands up, that's because I raised my hand. If you want to ask a question, and we're not going to do this today so much, but in the future we'll have somebody that's the moderator that'll be watching this. And when somebody raises their hand, they can make note that you have a question and let the speaker know that somebody has a question. During the question and answer period, I'll be watching this function and trying to answer questions as people raise their hand. You could get really crazy about this. I don't know how much we'll have to use this functionality, but we want it to be there so we can use it. And this is where you do that. You can also mute yourself in this screen, and that's a nice feature, and that's the only ones we're going to need to use right now. The next one is this reaction button over in the lower right-hand corner. There's a couple different reactions at the time I wrote this, and I think they've added some since. But when I recorded this, there was the applause button and the thumbs up button. If something's being said and you want to share a reaction, you get really excited, you can give a thumbs up or an applause. You can also use that to try to draw attention if you want, but it's really just a button to share a reaction to what's being said. Keep in mind that the speaker, in this case, I can't see any of those right now because the only thing I can see is the keynote presentation. In the future, I'm going to try to run a second screen where I can watch those, but today I don't have that up and running yet. All right. The next important feature is the chat feature. If you click on chat, then you'll get this screen, and this is where you can talk to everybody that's around. It's in the meeting. Notice right now it says to everyone. You can change that. You could just have a conversation with one particular person. So if I wanted to talk, for example, to Mark right now, I could go into the chat feature, say to Mark, and then everything I type in the type message here would go to Mark's instant messaging and his chat functionality. He would get that message, and then he and I could chat back and forth. Nobody else would see it. It would just be he and I chatting about whatever it is. We could talk about the weather or whatever, but that's where that would be. If you want to send messages to everybody, like there's something that's being said that you find interesting, that you want to say something about, or you just want to talk about the weather, you could send one to everyone, type that message into everyone, and they would all get that message. So feel free to try it. Go into the chat screen, go down to type a message, send one to everyone, and have at it. I think it would be good just to try that feature. It's really good, and it works really well. And every meeting I've ever been at and been involved in Zoom, this feature gets used a lot. I mean, I see this used all the time. It's not always about the meeting, but usually it is about the meeting, but you get the idea. That's chat. You can save, there's in that epsilon over there at the right, the 3 dots, you can save your chats. I've never done that, but I know it can be done. But at the end, if there's something you wanted in chat and you wanted it saved, you can save a chat and save a record of the chat on your Mac so that you can later on go back and actually get what was in the chat that you want. Feel free to try to use it. You can also send a file. I've never done that either, but I know some people have tried it. But you can also send a file if you click the file button. All right, the next thing I just want to mention is if you go up to the top, there's a pull down menu. If you click the Zoom US and you go down, you can click preferences. This is where you can set up all the preferences for how your specific instance of Zoom works. There's a lot of things in here. I'm not going to go through a lot of them today. I just want you to know where it's at. You can go in and change what microphone you've selected or what output device you've selected. You can go in and change your backgrounds in here. You can do a variety of different things. And so that's all inside preferences. I'm not going to walk through all these other features, but this is where you would uninstall Zoom if you decide you don't want it on your computer no more. There's a place here to check for updates. You can sign in if you're not signed in yet, or you can quit Zoom and get out. That's all right here in that screen. This is a look at the settings screen. This is in the preferences, and that shows the video settings. And like I said, there's a whole bunch of other settings you can use. You can set up the sharing your screen feature, which is what I'm using, etc. So not going to dive deep into all that today. There's the audio settings. I did put that one in here because you may need to use that one. If you're trying to use a different speaker or a different microphone, this is where you would select those devices. and where you could test them to make sure you're getting input and output, turn up the volume or whatever you may need to get those kind of functionalities out of your device. So that one is important. So we're going to do some Q&A. I'm going to get out of the screen sharing mode and just see what kinds of questions everybody may have. And you can unmute yourself, so everybody can unmute themselves. And what kind of questions does everybody have about Zoom that we can chat about or help with? Or are there any questions?
I see two screens for David Jones. One's got video and one does not. What do you show for him? And Shauna was saying she heard audio from David.
Yeah, he wasn't muted. I think he came in after I muted or something.
Oh.
And I couldn't get
I
to
had
that.
problems with my computer.
Yeah, but that's all right. I figured there was something going on there. He wasn't muted. Other questions? Or you're all experts on Zoom now. We should proceed.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sometimes I'm watching a Zoom and they'll tell you to raise your hand, you know, and they have the little thing at the bottom that says raise your hand and so forth. But to me, I click on it and nothing happens. Does that mean that instead I should go into the participants thing at the bottom and do it from there rather than on the screen?
You could try that, and that's what I would try. Shane, have you ever seen that? Sean, have you ever seen that before?
Yes, the one on the screen, I believe he's talking about his reactions, which is actually the applause symbol
No,
and the thumbs up.
no, they say if you want to participate as one of the readers,
Right.
click on the
Raise your hand.
raise your hand, and then someone will get to you and put you in line.
Right.
But every time I put my cursor on there, it has never worked. So I didn't know. It must
The only
be
one
there.
I know of that does work is the raise hand from the participant window.
Right, and that means I go to the very, very bottom, right?
Correct, the bottom right, and then next to your name, you should see a hand.
Okay, all right. That's-
Bill,
Like Bill's hands up right now.
President just raised his hand right now. You should see a blue hand raised next to his name.
To who?
Bill,
Bill, our
President.
President.
If you look on
President.
right there by his name, he's got a hand raised, the little blue hand.
In the participants file.
Who's
No.
got a blue hand?
Nope, not there.
You
Look
have to click participants at the bottom of your screen to bring up the list of participants in the meeting.
Oh, I see.
Oh,
And then next to
Either right by
Bill's
Bill,
name,
right
you
by
should.
Bill, you got a hand. And if you raise your
And now
hand,
Ray raised his hand.
Ray raised his hand. Now Kathy,
Kathy,
hand. Mark raised
Mark.
his hand.
So I'm gonna try to, I just click it, or
correct.
did I raise my hand or not?
Hang on, I'm looking.
No.
No, you didn't.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Try it again, because there's something.
On my screen, it says lower hand or raise hand.
After it's raised, it'll say lower.
Well,
It's not an actual hand. You have to click on the text.
Hap, you don't need to click on your name. All you have to do is click on the raise hand in the lower right hand corner.
Right.
Let's see. Lower right-hand corner. Do not see it.
Of the participant screen.
On
It
the
may
partic-
depend on what device you're using. If you're using mobile devices, you don't get all the functionality.
Yeah, what device are you on?
Me, my iPad, my laptop. So I'm supposed to hit
Hit participants.
participants.
Hap, you got it.
Oh, got it. So sorry. So sorry. Thought it was
That's
going
why
to be,
we're doing this.
Hap,
I
did you
thought
hit
it was supposed to be on the picture itself,
Ah.
but it's on the side. Okay.
Side. Did you
Thank
get it to work, Hap?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Hap-
have got it to work.
All
Yeah.
right, well, that's good. Anybody else try it? I don't see everybody's hand raised, but that's where it's at. I'm seeing more come up. It really works. This is a key feature. Now, you know, you don't have to use this feature. As you can tell, we got a small enough group that we can kind of talk. But sometimes we may want to use it more than others. So somebody's getting some feedback. All right. Now, I noticed everybody was able to chat. There was no issues with chatting. That's good. Not everybody did it, but several of you did. Did anybody try the speaker view versus the gallery view?
No.
I use it frequently depending on whether I'm presenting or speaking or watching. Yes.
There's a
it's
little
fun.
button. It's a button right up in the upper right-hand corner. It says
Yeah.
speaker view. If you click that speaker view button, it'll switch to speaker view. Then if you click it again, it'll go back to gallery view. And sometimes when you're listening to a single speaker, the speaker view is better. But when you're in a group like this, then the gallery view is real nice because you can see everybody at once.
If you're fortunate to have a really large screen, you can see up to 49 participants at once.
I didn't know what that number was, but thank you, Shauna, because I knew there was a big
Right.
number, but I didn't know how many it was. On my screen, I'm on a 12-inch MacBook, and I can only see 16 at a time.
What does the flashing recording button mean? Is it recording on my computer and using up my memory, or
No,
what
it's
does that
recording-
mean?
It's recording the presentation, and I get the copy. You don't, and then we're going to put that online. We'll clean it up, edit out stuff that shouldn't be there, and then we're going to post it so everybody can see the presentation. Just like we record the presentation when we have our meetings live, we'll record these presentations. So right now it's recording this session, and we'll cut out what we don't need, and then we'll post it.
So it's not recording it on my computer.
No.
No.
No, you could record on your computer if you hit the icon to the right of share.
It'll record it on your
Bottom where it
computer.
says record, you can do your own recording if the meeting was set up to allow you to do that. So that
right.
is an option if you wanted to take up space on your drive recording it.
Yeah, I didn't want to. I was just checking. Thank you.
Yeah, you don't need to do that. It'll be available, though, if you want to see the presentation. It'll be available to watch later. What else? Other questions? Anybody got anything heavy?
Still have my hand raised.
Yeah, I see your hands up, but I just went down. Go ahead, Ray.
This is more a statement or whatever. Anyway, it's not a question. I wanted to tell you that I took your advice about having trouble with my watch. And you said, well, they got the store at the Green open. Why don't you go there? So I called Apple. I made an appointment. Now, I had already made an appointment for a senior advisor to call me on Thursday. Unfortunately, calling to go see somebody in person was a day earlier. So I went to the Green. You have to go through the same thing you do on like going to a doctor's office. Do you have any symptoms? Do you have a fever? No, no, no. And I went in. You cannot shop. The only thing you can do is see somebody because you've got a problem. But they are open that far. So thank you for your advice.
Yeah, I noticed they have a tent set up out on the sidewalk. Is that where you check in?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
went
just on the sidewalk. I don't know what the tent was for.
The tent is for buying stuff. So for example, when you're checking in, because I bought an iPhone for my sister-in-law and then she paid me for it. But you go through the line, they check your temperature, they do all that stuff, then they tell you when you can go in. If you bought something like I did for her, then you go over under the tent, and that's where they give you your thing. If they're going to help you set it up, they do that under the tent.
Oh, okay.
That's the way that works. So it works pretty good. I mean, I got checked. My temperature was normal, so I was happy. Did you get your watch fixed?
Yes.
Good.
In fact, I'd spent over an hour, about approximately an hour and 20 minutes with the advisors on the phone a day or two. I was on a Monday, I believe. And on my way to the store, I thought, I wonder what would happen if I turned my watch all the way off, powered it down, powered it up, and by the time I got there, it was almost finished. They had a couple little things to do, whatever it was, I don't remember. And I've been happy ever since. But my only problem with the Apple Watch is it's got too many features.
Lenore, did you have a question? Your hand's up. Did you have anything?
Yes, I just wondered how some of you are getting a background.
So there's a feature in Zoom, and you remember I said under preferences, you can go into preferences, and there's a feature called backgrounds. There's some default backgrounds. You can select one of the default backgrounds and add it right into your picture, and it works really, really good. You have to have a fairly good processor. I can do it on my iPad, for example. I can do it. I just can't do it on my wife's MacBook, and I'm on her MacBook today. But it works really well, and you can select one of those backgrounds. So go ahead, go click on preferences, and it could click on Zoom US, then preferences, and then look down for
Virtual background. Oh, no.
Yep.
it's virtual backgrounds. Yes,
Oh, there they are.
preferences, and then go virtual backgrounds, and there's a whole bunch of them there. You select one of those standard ones, or you can add some more, but just pick one like the Golden Gate Bridge there. Click the Golden Gate Bridge, and then
What it says is your processor, blah, 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 does not meet recommended specification for virtual background. I'm on a very old laptop, iPad, so.
I'm on my wife's MacBook, and it can't
Yeah.
do it either. If
So,
I
of
do
course,
it, I get a very special feature that you're all gonna love.
Rick, go ahead and do it.
I'm
It's
gonna do it right
hilarious.
now. If you're on, you'll get the same thing probably, but if I go into mine and I pick, hang on, here we go.
He's headless.
Yeah.
The Invisible Man.
I actually got a little bit of a head this time. Last
I
time I
know.
was totally headless. It's
That's
better than
funny.
it was.
Yeah, I like that.
Anyway, so you get the idea. So that's
Right.
where that's at. It's in virtual background. That's a real popular feature. A lot of people collect these virtual backgrounds. And there's some really nice ones out there. I mean, there's some real nice virtual backgrounds.
Okay, good, thanks.
You can also use pictures of your own like I've done.
Yeah, you can
Oh,
take a picture right out of your picture library and use it, and it'll try to use that. Now, there's probably some things that make for better backgrounds than others. So, you might have to try it and see how it is, but you get the idea.
I'm not getting any virtual background, Rick. I clicked on preferences, and then I clicked backgrounds and filters, and virtual backgrounds is written there, and I got a plus sign. Add a virtual background. I hit the plus sign, and it just shows up a bunch of files,
yeah.
my documents files.
Oh,
I don't know why that would be.
Go to your pictures.
Go to my pictures.
There aren't any that's already there, any pictures that are already there.
No,
Ellen?
mine says none. Mine has a box that
Yeah.
says none.
Mine
Yeah.
says that too.
It may be something to do with the computer you're on. I don't know. Now, like for example, on my iPad, it works really, really well. I mean, it works great. It works better on my iPad than it does on the computer. But you have to go in and select it. But like I said, on this Mac I'm on right now, it won't let me do it. There, Mark's moved to the nice weather.
It seems that the newest versions of Zoom, because I just installed the newest one, is also coming up with none, and my Mac would more than support them, and I had them previously. So I think it depends on what version of Zoom you have as
That's
well.
probably what it is, 'cause I have not updated this. I have not updated this Mac. I'm still using the old version. So give it some time, play with it. Then there'll be some fixes, I'm sure, for that, because that feature worked real well before.
You can always also have the video like Bill Howe has.
I went to pictures like Mark said, and it's got photo booth and palm photos, and I click something else and I get a document. I've got a document here, like my 1040 or something, and
Yeah, bring that up.
everybody see
That
it.
is not a good thing to put on the screen.
Well, I better take it off then.
Yeah, don't put your 1040 up there.
I ran the
I
same.
can't get the pictures that you're talking about though for some reason.
We'll take a look at that. I don't know why, but
Can I help you on this?
Go ahead.
Okay, if you go to, like you said, Zoom, and then go to preferences, and go to virtual background. You will, with my version, it comes up with none. So you hit the plus sign.
hit the plus. Oh, plus sign.
I
and
hit
Off to the right-hand side.
Image or video.
Image.
Let's click the add image first.
Add image, where's that?
Okay, then you get a finder window. If you scroll down on the left-hand side to the very bottom, you see media, and under that will say photos. That's your photos application. Click on that, and that loads all the photos in your photo application. Okay? And you can select any photo you want out of there. Click on one of them and hit open. Then it'll show up in your virtual background. Then click on that, make sure it's highlighted, and you can see the preview above that where that picture is showing up. As I'm clicking on different images, there's a video, there's another video. Now, if you want a video, you would click on add video back at the plus sign. Everybody follow that, or I need to go back through
Yes.
it?
Nope, didn't follow.
You got it?
Didn't follow.
Didn't follow, okay. Hit your plus sign and the choose virtual background. It'll say add image or add video. Let's click on add image. You'll get a finder window up. On the left-hand side where you see documents or Dropbox or applications or whatever, scroll down to the very bottom and you'll see media, and under that it should say photos.
But
Yeah,
you can only do that if you have enough power in your computer, because
Yeah.
mine says it doesn't.
Okay.
No, mine doesn't either.
Yeah, if you have the older computer and the newer version of Zoom, it'll say none and
Yeah.
not give you the pre-built-in ones, which pretty much means at trying to add an image isn't going to work either.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm running a 2012 laptop.
Right, 2012 won't work.
Well, it is working
That's
for
the one
me.
I've got. Doesn't work.
You get maybe you have the older version. I mean,
Right.
they just updated this overnight last night. So if you didn't update this morning, you're probably still using the older version, which seems to be
I
better.
probably am. Let me check for updates.
Yeah, I'm running the older version and it's working better than the new version.
Correct.
I'm
I
sure.
updated this morning.
Yeah,
I
that's,
just updated this morning just before logging in.
yeah, I didn't.
You mean you're updating your computer?
No,
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 the
Zoom.
application, the
Meeting.
Zoom
Yeah.
application.
Oh, okay. All right.
all right. Any other
Pandy
questions?
Boyles ever get logged in?
Pardon?
It says Pandy Boyles. Is that person on our screen?
No, she said that, she texted me, she said, you can't see her or hear her, but she's listening in. So don't talk about her too much.
Yeah, I don't know why she's not able to do that. That's something, if she's having,
She's able to, she's not wanting to. She said she's eating breakfast.
oh, I totally get that.
Hi, Pandy, I blabbed on you.
There have
That's
been
all right.
multiple meetings. I've attended meetings and I got hungry and I decided to eat and I just changed the video so nobody can see me and I go eat while the meeting's going on. I can't tell you how many times I've done that. All right. Any other questions?
David Jones here. I show a mic and a video. Is anybody getting my video and my sound?
Yes,
Yes.
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 You've
Great.
got
Yeah.
another dark screen that just has your name on it.
Now get your clothes on.
That's dangerous.
Hey, Elton, you got to turn that IR stuff off.
Okay.
So my system's working as it should, right?
Yes.
Yeah, seems to be.
Yes.
Except for I wonder why he's got the black David Jones screen.
Typically, it means
into
he's
the-
signed in on 2 devices.
That could be.
Are you the one that used FaceTime?
I went on my phone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
it's still logged in on the phone.
That's
You're
what
logged
it
in
is.
there. You're logged in twice.
Okay.
But that's all right. I mean, you're in, you can see it. Just as long as it's working for you, we're fine. I mean, there's an extra one, but that don't matter.
All right.
All right. So here's the scoop. We're gonna do a virtual meeting again next month. It's going to be same type of thing. You'll receive an invite by email. My guess is it'll be the same login ID information, but I got to do that yet. I got to make sure I remember to do the same stuff. But you'll get an invite for next month's meeting. Next month will be the same time as normal, 10 o'clock. We'll probably do it a little bit more than we did this month, but we haven't worked all the details out about next month. The topic of next month is going to be about Apple Silicon and what that means. There was a whole bunch of announcements on software related to Apple Silicon and what's happening. We're going to try to talk about all that stuff next month. So it should be really interesting, and we'll get more back to normal type stuff there. I don't know that we're going to be doing help desk yet or whatever. We still have to figure that out, but plan on the meeting next month, 10 o'clock. It'll be a great meeting, and we're really excited to get everybody back together. As soon as we
I
go.
have a question before you leave.
Huh?
I have a question before we leave.
I got a
When
question.
I was signing in, it asked for a code.
Yes, that's the code. It came in the email. It's at the top of the email invite. It's like, how many digits? I think it's like 15, 12, 15 digits. You got
10.
right on the email.
10.
It was 10 digits long.
Yeah, you log in with those digits. So if you get that message, just use those digits right out of your invitation. It's the ID for the meeting.
Rick?
But it comes on an email, you're saying, not a text or anything.
Well, last time I put it as an attachment to the invite. Next month it will be an email. Next month you'll get an email. It'll either be from me or from Bill. It'll tell you the login information. You'll have it in an email next month. So just, you'll have it. That's what you use.
Isn't it called the meeting ID
Yes.
that you send out?
Yes.
Yes. Rick?
And
Yes.
Apple with a capital A.
Kathy
That's the
first. Kathy
password.
had-
That's
Kathy
different
had
from
her
the
hand up.
ID.
Yeah, that's
Pass-
passcode.
But there's also a passcode too, in the case it was
Right.
Apple with a capital A. And I will use that same passcode again next month. Kathy, you have a question?
Well, I just had a comment, just like we did today. I was on an hour before, like at 9 o'clock, 8:45, to let people know that they can get on before 10 o'clock, so they don't have to wait till the very last minute to get on.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I was on early too. So if you want to get in and just practice, people are trying to get in early so you can actually make sure everything's working. You don't have to wait till 10 o'clock. Bill,
What time you get up, Rick?
I get up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, but I'm not getting on then. Bill, Howell, did you have a question?
Yeah, I wanted to let you know that in your login screen on Zoom, where you put in your code, if you click on that little down arrow to the right, it shows your previous meetings.
Oh,
So if you click on that, and if you're using the same code as this last time, and you're going to use the same code next time, just select that top one, and that should take you right into the meeting.
And my plan is to use the same code, but you should always double check because
Right.
it comes up in by default, it's supposed to use the same code every time, but I've had it a couple times where it didn't.
Where do you type the code in?
You'll see it in the login screen.
Yeah, there's a login screen. It'll be right there. When you click join a meeting, it'll come up with that code right there at the top of the screen. But you can't do it while you're in a meeting right now. You have to be logging in to do it.
Okay.
Hey, Rick, may I ask a question?
Yeah, first Ray's got his hand up. Let him do his, then we'll come to you.
Okay.
Yeah, on my screen, I got y'all, and in the lower left-hand corner with a beautiful blue sky behind and some mountains is Kathy. Kathy and I have been working together, and it allowed me to be about half a step ahead of you, maybe 3/4 of a step, because I've been learning things. So a thought to you folks and anybody else, team up with somebody and start working with it. Kathy showed me so many things, which I halfway forgot by this morning, but still it's a refresher and it's going to stick with me. So thank you very much, Kathy. You've been a great help to me on this. And also years ago when I was treasurer of my homeowners association, you helped me there too, a great deal. But team up with somebody else and practice for a while. And maybe if one of you knows more, like Kathy did, knows more than the other person, you teach each other. And it really works out well, it works out fun, and there's only two people talking at the same time.
And who was the other question? I didn't see who it was.
No,
I had a question. One, when I logged in, although I had written down the meeting ID, I got in without ever entering it.
Now, what usually happens is if you click the invite, if you click on the invitation and click the link on the invitation, it automatically fills the meeting ID.
Okay.
You didn't have to do that.
That answers that question. The other one is when you're trying to do chat, I got a very nice note from Mark and from Bill, and I tried to send something back to them and I typed it up, but for some reason I couldn't get it to send. Is there any trick to sending something when you have a note in chat at the same time as you're on Zoom?
You hit return.
The only thing is you gotta make sure, number one, that you're sending it to who you want. So if they
Right.
send it to you individually, not as a group, and I don't know which it was, you would have to go back and change the two to just Bill or just, Mark.
Yes, I got that, understand.
You type the message, then you have to hit return and it should go. Or you hit that over to the side, in addition to hitting return, there's a little, when you type a message, so you type like, I'm gonna send one to everyone. Usually you just hit return and it goes. On the Mac, on the iPad, there's a little button you have to hit. Instead of a return, there's a button you push most of the time.
I'm on an iMac.
Well, it should work fine. Just
Hit
hit
return, Rod.
just hit
Okay, thank you.
Give it a shot, Rod. See if we can.
I'm fishing around for something, and the obvious is just sometimes you look at it and sort of go,
Yeah, try to send a message to everyone just as a test to make sure you can do it. Just go in and type a message and hit enter.
Okay. Can I? I've
Kathy,
got a question.
You're next. Go ahead.
Okay. To Max, what do you think? Do you think this might work for your group?
Yes, I think this will work for those that are not experienced enough in using Zoom. So I think this will be helpful. I've gotten some excellent ideas that I'll be bringing back to our group, and we'll try to implement them as we go along. I want to thank Rick and I want to thank Bill for inviting me. It was a pleasure. You have a wonderful group, and it's very nice to see that at this point in time, first of all, that there are Mac user groups still in existence and that they are still active during this pandemic.
Hey, Max, do you run a bed and breakfast down there?
No, I don't.
Darn.
How about just a room?
But we live in a beautiful gated community. There are about 695 homes here. You must be a over 55 resident, and we have a wonderful community, very nice people, and it's gorgeous here, except it's hot, and if you don't like the heat and if you don't like the humidity, you ought to reconsider.
Yeah, well,
Are you originally from Florida? Are you originally from Florida, Max?
No, I'm originally from Long Island, New York. I was one of the 3 people who founded the Long Island Macintosh user group back in 1984.
Wow, that was a great year.
so where are you now, sir? What part of Florida?
Palm Beach County, specifically Boynton Beach.
Heard of it. Well, thanks for joining us today. Best of luck. And if we can do anything to help, if I can do anything to help, don't hesitate to reach out to me. You've got my email as well.
Yes,
as my
I
telephone number.
do. And the same thing for our group. If you are ever in need of something, just touch base with me and ask.
Thanks, Max. All right. If
Thank
there's
you,
nothing
Max.
further, I'm going to.
Mark,
Mark,
I got a question for Mark. You sent me a chat and I tried to respond, but like someone else asked, I didn't know there's no send button when I got through typing it. Did you get my response back to you?
No. Did you hit return?
Return? What do you mean return?
just
Return
hit
button.
Key button
Big button on there that says return.
Enter.
on your keyboard.
enter. Like when you're typing a message, when you're typing, just hit enter at the end of the message.
Oh, you
Enter,
mean
return.
my computer keyboard?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I
Type
hit,
a message. Type a
There, I
message.
got it.
you got it now?
Yep.
It said something about my computer, you couldn't see me. And I said the reason was that I had my little screen. I have a little button I can flip there and it just makes me disappear. I flipped it back on. That's the reason you couldn't see me. Okay, thanks. That helped. return button. Hit the return key. Thank you.
All right. So everybody stay safe. I hope you all stay very, very safe. We're really glad to have had this meeting today. If
Hey,
you have,
Rick,
you have some
can I-
feedback, I'll give just a second. If you have any feedback, send it to us. Love to hear any feedback. If there's some suggestions or thoughts or concerns. And go ahead, Bill.
no, I had a question.
Oh, right.
Is there a specific way to make sure that you log out properly? Because so
No.
many times you go into something and you're fishing around looking for where to go, what to do to make sure, in fact, you've logged out and closed out properly of whatever function you're in.
You can hit the bottom button and leave the meeting. But when I click end, everybody will get logged out. So it'll automatically log everybody out when I log out.
Can I add one
If you
thing?
want to log
to
out
that?
before I do it, you can go ahead and hit the leave meeting button or whatever it's called. I forget what it says.
Just a little red oval that says leave.
Yep.
Okay, got it.
May I add one thing to that?
But when I do it, everybody will be done. Go ahead.
When you click leave or when the moderator ends the meeting for everyone, you're logged out of the Zoom meeting, but your Zoom application will continue running until you quit it.
Yeah, you got to quit the Zoom app too.
How do you quit the Zoom app then?
The
Zoom
way you
US
quit any app. Command Q.
Yeah, our Command Q.
Or can you
Normal
drag and
Macintosh
drop?
quit.
You can use the pull down menu under
Pull
Zoom US and quit the Zoom, or you can Command Q.
Okay.
Thank you.
Rick, when you leave the meeting, you actually have the ability to assign somebody else.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm
Need
going to
it.
make everybody exit. If there was other people, if after the meeting, and I know this is getting a little deeper, but if some of you wanted to stay around and continue to meet, I could leave the meeting and let you continue to meet. But usually, unless somebody tells me they want to continue with the meeting, I'm going to close and shut down the meeting. But if somebody, for some reason, a few of you want to continue to talk, I can leave it up and let you guys continue, and I can still leave the meeting. But we're not going to do that. I don't think. Anybody else have anything?
I have a quick question, Rick.
Go ahead, Ray.
I just noticed Mark lifted his hand in the seat back where the girl's sitting, his hand disappeared. Does that,
Ray,
well, in your head disappeared the other day.
You know, I can't comment on Mark's background or anything, but
Is
we
it
we'll talk about my co-pilot.
yeah, he
Me.
can tell us that's
my
his
hand does something funny there too.
That's,
My
that's
question
not a
is,
co-pilot, that's a PIC on the left.
does a,
The
does
lady,
a
she's
green,
a PIC.
wait a minute, everybody hold on a moment. Does a green screen prevent that?
green screen makes it'll make if you have a real green screen behind you,
Right.
it'll help make your background images actually better. You'll notice sometimes when you move your head, you get a little fuzz and stuff. If you have a really good green screen behind you, it'll help make that better.
And then you put in your image like I put in when I was launching a boat years ago.
Yeah. Most people, nobody else here has got a green screen. I don't have a green screen going right now. But if you have a real green screen, you can make it even better. I just, you don't need it to make this work good enough.
Well, it works, but that's just a question I had. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll give you I'll give you that.
Appreciate that. You're a good man. All right, everybody. Take care of yourselves.
Thanks, Rick.
Bye, thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
See you.
Adios.
Thanks for coming.
Next
Nice meeting you, Max.
Thank you.
See ya.
Same here.
Leaving.
I'm clicking.
Bye.
Bye-bye.